Good morning, classroom family, and welcome to your fourth and final day of distance learning. Congratulations, we made it through a week. Well, almost, just a few more hours, and then officially we will be into our special Holy Easter weekend. There's a couple of important things I wanted to share with you. First, I really want to extend a very happy Easter to you and your families. I do know it's not the Easter that we planned. We would have had a wonderful egg hunt scheduled for school, and we would have had some great events. But you know what? Let's keep a couple of things in mind. We're safe, we're healthy, and we're with our families, and there will always be next year. And if we do get back in time before the school year comes to an end, we can have a delayed egg hunt. That is my promise to you. So let's keep that spirit and positive attitude in mind, and let's remember this weekend that we will be filled with sorrow in our hearts as we observe the crucifixion of Christ, but then we will rejoice in his miraculous resurrection on Easter Sunday. So it's going to be a very special weekend for us as Catholics, and I hope you take some special time with your families to witness this passion story, as it is so important to our religion and our Catholic calendar. The other important little bit of information I wanted to share with you, I'm not sure if anyone noticed this week, especially last night, we've had our biggest and brightest first supermoon of 2020. So a supermoon is when the moon in orbit comes closest to the Earth, and it's also brighter than it's ever been. And I believe it was last night, the moon was so close at 356,000 kilometers. Usually it's a lot farther than that, but last night it came very close, and it was a bright pink in its color. So look out for another one this evening, and don't worry if you miss it, because another supermoon will be on its way in May. So keep that in mind. I thought during these times when we're spending so much time indoors, if you get a chance to go outside or even peek through your window, you might see this spectacular moon above looking over us. Now on to today's lessons. We're continuing our exploration of the Holy Week story. And like yesterday, today's story gets a bit more sad as Jesus joins his disciples for the Last Supper. So to help you out with the reading and filling out the information, I'm going to do a reading like I did about 2 days ago. And you can either challenge yourself to fill in the missing words on your own, or you can use this video and listen to me read to help you plug in the correct words. So here we go. This is the Holy Week reading for today. Jesus was told by God that he was going to have to give up his life and die soon. On a Thursday evening, he shared a very special meal with his friends. This special meal is called the Last Supper. While they were eating, Jesus broke the bread. He offered it to his friends and said, "Take this, eat it. This is my body." Then he told his friends that he would soon be leaving them. So I'm sure you've heard of the Last Supper before. In fact, there is a very famous painting, probably one of the most famous paintings in the world, of the Last Supper, which connects to your assignment. So once you're done filling in the missing words, I've added a reflection question asking you how you would feel if you were around that Last Supper table as one of Jesus' followers, and he told you that he was going to be leaving soon. How would you feel at that very moment if a good friend told you that they would no longer be there with you? And we'll go on to learn more about what happens to Jesus in the upcoming readings that we explore as a class. And finally, I've offered you the opportunity to visualize that Last Supper and sketch out what you see. So remember, Jesus was in the center of the table, and around him are his disciples, and on the table you see food and water and of course bread. And there's one special detail. One of his disciples, you can see, is knocking over a container of salt with his elbow. And that disciple's name is Judas. So maybe you can ask someone about that, but that's a little special fact I wanted to share with you that you can notice if you are able to look up or see a painting of the Last Supper. All right, moving on to the math that we're exploring. We're back to looking at the clock, the analog clock. Remember, not a digital clock, but an analog clock because there's a face and there are hands. The hour hand is the smaller hand and the minute hand is the bigger hand. Yesterday we talked about half hours. Today I want to explore quarters. Now yesterday we said think of the clock as a giant pizza or pie. When it's 1/2 that's like picturing half of a pie. Well, today you're going to divide your pie or your analog clock into 4 parts. And here's why. Those 4 parts are each called a quarter. Again, we're talking about the big hand. When that big hand is pointing to a number, you have to kind of ignore the number it's pointing at and remember that secret code. Let's go through the secret codes. 12 always marks a new hour because that means that 60 minutes have passed. So 12 represents 60 on the clock only when the big hand is pointing at it. 1 represents 5, 2 represents 10, 3 represents 15, and that's our first quarter. So when the big hand goes from 12 to 3, 15 minutes have passed, and that's 1 quarter gone from an hour. The next quarter, from 15 to 30, it's called the second quarter. 15, 20, 25, and 30. Remember yesterday we said the 6 represents 30? Well, that means that the 4 represents 20, the 5 represents 25, and that 6 represents 30, and that's 1/2 an hour, or you could say 2 quarters. Our third quarter is when the big hand goes from the 6 to the 9, meaning that 7 is 35 minutes past an hour, 8 is 40 minutes past an hour, and 9 means 45 minutes past an hour only when the big hand is pointing there. And that's our third quarter. Our fourth and final quarter of an hour on the analog clock is when the big hand moves from the 9 back to the 12, because then we have 45, 10 meaning 50, 11 meaning 55, and back to that 60, which is 12. So now you have a better sense of what quarter means on the clock. I've also added some special word problems for both grade 1s and 2s to explore about time passing and the difference. You'll need your addition and subtraction skills for those. All right, that'll be a little challenge added to your unit on time. So on that note, I want to say good luck, not goodbye. See you soon. Have a wonderful Easter, and remember to praise God and Jesus as we observe the Easter miracle. Sending my love to you all.